All right, welcome everyone to our first admissions webinar of the year. We're really excited to be coming to you, even if it is virtually. So we're in this new world and we're excited that we can get together with everyone and just share what's going on with admissions and how you can get your student enrolled. So just a couple of housekeeping items just to let you know that we are recording this evening, so that it will hopefully be available to others who were not able to join us tonight. And we will be going through the admissions guide. So hopefully you received that in the mail this past week. So if you have that handy and want to follow along with us, you can do that and take notes. But otherwise, Dawn will be putting that up on the screen. So I'm going to hand it over to Dawn Schuler, who is our Director of Admissions and Retention, to kick us off this evening.
Thanks, Ashley. Good evening. Thanks, everybody, for joining us in our first ever admissions webinar. So bear with us here since this is our first time, but I have a lot of good information to give you. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed or anything, especially if this is your first student that's going to be a freshman and going into high school. I'm here with you every step of the way. Ashley's gonna enter in my contact information in the chat. So, after we get done with the webinar, if you have questions this week, you can always call me or email me those questions. So I'm gonna try to share my screen here and go in to our admissions guide. Well, first, before I go into the admissions guide, I would like to show you our timeline. Okay, our admissions timeline. This is some good information to know to kind of just put some framework around when things are due and what events are coming up. So our application is not going to be open for you to fill out until, let's see, it's October 19th. Our priority application goes from October 19th through December 14th. So what that means is if you go ahead and get your application filled out and get the supporting documents that we need, like first quarter report card, sixth grade iLearn scores, copy of the birth certificate, and if you get the scholarship information and financial aid information filled out by December 14th, we will be able to give you your financial aid package by mid-February. Now, if you can't get that done by December 14th, it's okay. You can still apply, but you might not get your financial aid package until March or April. So it's just kind of nice to have all that done before Christmas break, December 14th, and then we can get those financial aid packages put together and out to you by mid-February. So we've talked about that. In November, we have Concordia Day coming up November 13th, where we have our 8th graders from the Lutheran schools coming to visit and get a taste of high school. Then we follow that up with Discover Concordia Night. That's held the next week on Wednesday, November 18th at 6:30. And that's a time students can come back if they want and bring their parents, or parents can just come by themselves. And we'll have a lot of good information that night, a lot of it that you're getting tonight. But you'll also have the opportunity to meet with some of our teachers and administrators and guidance counselors, athletic director. You get to see the uniforms, if that's something that you would like to see in person. So that will be coming up November 18th. Then we get into February, when you receive your financial aid package. Then at the very end of February, that's typically when we have our freshman scheduling nights. So we have 2 nights where I know it's hard to believe, but you'll be coming in and completing their schedule for next year. So usually we do the last name between A and M is the first scheduling night, and then N through Z will be the second one. If you have conflicts, you can always go to the other freshman scheduling night. It's not a big deal. Then in the spring, if your student is taking algebra currently, they will come in for a math placement test to see if they would be a better fit for going into honors algebra or honors geometry. If they're currently taking pre-algebra, then they don't need to worry about a placement test. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit here. In May, May 15th is the final deadline for our tuition scholarship. That's a hard deadline if you didn't get everything in before, or sometimes we have students that kind of apply going into summer. We do need to have the application completed for that by May 15th. And then we get into summer, usually into July, we have our registration days where we take care of them coming in, getting their lockers and their books and all that information. So I'm going to keep going here into our admissions guide. This is what it looks like. You should have received one in the mail last week. If you did not, please contact me by email or call me and let me know what your address is, and we will get one out to you in the mail. But this has all the information I'm going to be going over inside of it. If you have it in the house now, it might be nice to have it in front of you to take notes on. But I like to go over this page, especially for parents that this is your first student going into high school. So this shows academic tracks. Basically, there are two different diplomas your student can go for, just the standard Indiana Core 40 or an academic honors diploma. So the numbers underneath tell you how many semesters or credits they have to have in each one of those departments or classes in order to get those diplomas. So the big difference would be for the academic honors diploma, your student would need 4 years of math instead of 3. Indiana does not require any world languages, but if your student's going on to college, the guidance counselors will tell them they should do at least 2 years of a world language, and we offer Spanish, Latin, and German. So if they want to go for the academic honors diploma, they do need to take at least 3 years of a world language, or they could do 2 years of one and then switch to 2 years of another. And that's why it says 6 to 8 semesters. And then they need to do 1 year of a fine arts class, which we have a ton of fine arts classes to choose from, so they won't have any problems picking that out. That would be like your choir and your math, your visual arts, your video, your photography, drama, all kinds of classes that are included in the fine arts classes. And of course, this is a really cool picture, an aerial shot of our crew team. So we're one of the only high schools in the state of Indiana that has a crew team. And that's kind of what it looks like. They practice in the St. Jones, St. Mary's rivers. They also have rowing machines when they can't get into the river. Let's see. Our next page shows all of our available classes. So these are the classes that we offered for this school year, 2020, 2021. And if you start looking through these and you or your student wonders, what is that class about? You'll see at the very top here, there's a link. And if you go to that, you'll see where there's a PDF of our course book. And you can download that. It is like 65 pages or so. And there is a paragraph about each class that will describe the class. Over on the left, we have a lot of AP and dual college credit classes. So typically students start taking those junior and senior year, but with the computer science classes, sometimes students start taking those freshman or sophomore year, depending on what math class they're taking. And that's a really great opportunity to you could get up to a semester of college done before you even get out of high school. So this is our list of our courses, and I'm going to move on to the next page. This shows you a sample schedule. So if we look over here at our freshmen, when I have parents that I meet with, I tell them to write an 8 on this page. 8 is the number of classes that your student can pick for the semester. So what I like to do is go through and tell you, put a star next to the required classes. So English is a required class. I would star that. Every freshman that comes in either takes English 9 or honors English. Math, star that. Every freshman that comes in has to take a math class. So again, if they're in pre-algebra, they'll go straight into algebra. If they're in algebra right now, they'll take a placement test, and they'll either take honors algebra or honors geometry. Then PE and health. I don't star this because it's not required freshman year. They can take it anytime, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, anytime. They just have to make sure they get in 2 semesters of PE and 1 semester of health. Now, if they take JROTC or marching band or color guard, that can take the place of PE. So when we move on here to science and social studies, I don't star those either. They're not required because the state of Indiana says you only have to take 3 years of science or 3 years of social, 3 years of social studies. So you don't have to take more than 3 years, but we certainly have enough. You can take more than 3 years of those. And whenever they do start, which most of our freshmen do probably go ahead and start taking them and knocking them out right away. They start with biology, and then they take world history and geography. Theology, put a star next to theology. Every freshman takes a theology class. They do anthropology 1 semester and Old Testament the other semester. And then we have world languages on here, and that's not required. That they can go and get started with that if they'd like to freshman year. So really there are 3 required classes. That leaves them with 5 to build their schedule. So they could go ahead and knock out science, knock out social studies, maybe take PE, and that would leave them with 2 electives. So they could do a world language in choir, or they could do JROTC and band. A lot of options for them as they build their schedule. Our next page talks about one-to-one technology. So basically what this page is telling you, all our new students need to come in with their own device. So that would be MacBook, iPad, Chromebook. This talks about kind of what they would like you to have as far as a device. And if you already have one or you have questions about it, Scott Storm, who's the head of our computer science department, his contact information is down in the left-hand corner. Feel free to call or email him, and he can help you and answer any of those questions. So spiritual life. We have chapel once a week. And then we also have Koinonia, which are our small devotion groups. So what we do is we split the whole school up into groups, smaller groups of about 11 to 12 students, all different ages. And there's an adult leader with each group. So they meet, we usually bring a snack in to share. We talk about our highs and lows for the week. We might play a game, do a devotion together, and pray together. So it's a really neat program. I've been a Koinonia leader for going on 8 years now. Love my students, and they stay with that group all 4 years that they're at Concordia. So as we graduate some seniors, we get new freshmen into the group. And then we close the school down for 1 day during the school year to do, each group does a service project. You'll see Jared, our comfort dog. This is our Christmas Bureau project. This is a picture of chapel. Just a lot going on with spiritual life. This page talks a little bit about our career internship program. So as students start going into their senior year, this is a time where if they have an idea of a job or something they want to pursue as far as a career, and they want to try it out and do an internship for a semester, it takes 2 periods, 2 of their classes times. And like my daughter thought she was going to maybe go into being an architecture. So she did an internship at Martin Riley downtown, and she was gone on Mondays and Wednesdays in the morning until lunch. And it's a great program. It either gives them an idea of, yeah, maybe this is what I want to do, or no, I clearly did not enjoy this, but I did learn a few other things that maybe help me go in the direction of what I do want to pursue in college. Our next page talks about clubs and activities. We have over 24 clubs and activities at Concordia. So many ways to get involved. And you really want your student to get involved, because our students that are more involved and at least in an athletic, like some kind of athletic team, or JROTC or a fine arts program or a club, they're going to meet more friends and they're just going to enjoy their time in high school more. So this page talks about that. We have a great drama program, probably the most robust in town. We do over 5 plays a year. So if you have a student that maybe it plays a fall sport and they can't do a play in the fall, but when they're done with their fall sport, they might want to try out for the Toy Box Theater. They aren't out of drama. There's still plenty of time in the school year to try out for a few other productions. JROTC is a huge part of Concordia. I always tell parents this does not mean that your student has to go into the Army or military after high school, but we do have some that do. We have about 100 of our students that end up taking JROTC, and we have just as many girls as boys. And they start out taking it as an elective class. So in the class, they do get a uniform that's provided by the Army that they wear usually about once a week for inspection. And in the class, they're going to learn about first aid, about leadership, about, we do have an indoor rifle range. So they learn about weapon safety and marksmanship. They do physical fitness. There are just all kinds of things that they do in the class. And then if they want to get involved in one of the before or after school activities, we have a robotics team. The crew team is kind of underneath JROTC. We have a JLab academic team that competes. We have a Raiders team. If you ever look at the stadium to the left going toward Coliseum, there's a rappelling tower. And they are putting in an obstacle course, kind of where we can do some of our Raiders competitions at home. But we also travel to do those competitions. We have an outdoor adventure team that they do kayaking and camping. We have drill teams. We have color guard. So all kinds of ways to get involved in JROTC. And then as you grow in the program, when you get to be a junior and senior, you're getting rank like you do in the military. So you are actually the cadets that are running those programs. So it gives you something to talk about on your college applications and scholarships. Oh, and also for JROTC, if you want to see any of their videos, they are on Facebook under Concordia JROTC, and you can find them there. And they have a, let's see, Major Schaefer and Sergeant Conrad run the program. They're not just plain Army, they're veterans. Sergeant Conrad was a Green Beret. Major Schaefer served over in Iraq. They are just great mentors and have all kinds of stories and get those cadets really excited about whatever they're involved in. The next few pages talk about our STEM programs. So we have Project Lead the Way for biomed and for engineering. So this would not take the place of their science class. The state of Indiana won't let us do that. So you take it as an elective class that goes alongside of your science classes. So these pages talk about, that last page talked about Project Lead the Way. Computer science is huge at Concordia. We go to Tech Fest every year. We've won for the past 4 years against all the other area high schools. And we do offer quite a few computer programming classes. If you get into our fine arts, this page lists all of our musical art and art classes. We have 2D art, 3D art, if your student likes to sculpt or do pottery, photography, just all kinds of opportunities for creativity. We have various choirs you can get involved in, and band, symphonic band, orchestra, pep band, marching band. Let's see, also praise band if they want to be a part of our chapel services. That's another great area to get involved in. Our choirs, our a cappella, chamber choir, men and women's chorus, And they also have their own Facebook page under Concordia Acapella if you'd like to see any of their performances. And that's on Facebook. We get to our athletic teams. So we of course have all the different sports they're used to at their grade schools, but when they get into high school, a lot of them don't even realize all the other opportunities. So they can get into baseball with their school. Of course, we have basketball, cheerleading, cross country, football, golf. Golf's a new one for them. Gymnastics. We have soccer and softball. We have swimming and diving, tennis, track and field, volleyball, and wrestling. And then for club sports, we're one of the only schools in northern Indiana have lacrosse. Of course, we have our crew team and a bowling team. Our cross country team just won state last year. We won sectionals last weekend, so I know they're after another state title. Now we go on to our scholarship page, financial aid and scholarships. So where we're at right now for tuition is, for this school year that we're currently in, tuition was set at $10,710. And that's without any financial aid or anything. Right now, we have a committee working on revamping our tuition model. And so it won't go any higher than that. They're working on what they can do to possibly lower it, or it will stay the same. So that's something that we're looking at right now. We'll have an idea and we'll know for sure mid-November, and we'll post that on our website. Underneath admissions, there's a tab that says tuition and fees. And if you click there, there'll be a brochure like this that you can download, and you'll be able to see what the tuition will be. And I'm sure Ashley will probably send an email or something out that'll say, hey, guess what? Our new tuition and fee brochure's been uploaded. So just to give you an idea, that's what it's currently at. That's the highest it'll be. So $10,710 is what it is right now. And then we'll find out for sure what they do with that mid-November. Your student will have their own device, but they will actually get physical textbooks. So we do have a material and technology fee of $725. And then there's a graduation fee of $120, but that's not until they're a senior. And then we have a parking fee of $35, but that is not until they drive. So those are that's the tuition and fees. And then we have a few different payment plans that are also listed in our tuition and fees brochure. As far as any other costs, we do have uniform dress. So they wear their own khaki, black, or navy blue uniform pants or shorts. And then you purchase the shirts through us. So on our website, or you can go to the school office, we have all of our shirts have our school logo embroidered on them. So we have short sleeve polo shirts, long sleeve. We have like the sport wick kind of polo shirts. We have sweaters, fleece shirts, sweatshirts. Most students get the polo shirts, of course, in the warmer months. And then as it gets colder, a lot of them like the sweatshirts that are the 3/4 zip because they can wear whatever shirt they want underneath. But there are different options, and you buy as many that you want in your household. It depends on how often you want to do laundry, but a lot of different options for that. A lot of times during registration week, we'll have a resale day where we'll get uniforms donated back from seniors that have graduated, and we'll sell those for about $5 a piece. So if you can find your student size, that's a great deal. And we'll also promote whenever we have that date set up. So what I like to do now is go down the scholarship list and explain each scholarship. And if you have the book in front of you, you can just put a check mark in the box of the ones that you think would apply to your student and your family. So the first one is the Excel Scholarship. This is an academic scholarship. So What we'll do is we'll look at your students' first quarter grades from 8th grade year. So if they're a decent student and they get B's, A's and B's, this is definitely something they should put in for. All we need is there's a link for 2 teachers to go in and fill out the teacher evaluation form. And you can see that on our website underneath our scholarship page, or you can use the link in the admissions guide, whichever is easiest for you. It can be any 2 teachers they've ever had. It doesn't have to be 8th grade teachers. And you just send them the link. If you're at a Lutheran school, a lot of times the teachers have done this for a lot of their students, so they know where to go. But you have your teachers fill it out and it goes straight to us. You don't have to return it to us. As soon as they go to the page on the website, at the very bottom it says submit and it goes straight to us. This scholarship, we award quite a few of the Excel scholarships. So the amount varies between $500 and $1,000 a year. And once they're awarded that, they automatically get it every year. You don't have to reapply for it. But they do need to keep their GPA up above a 3.0. So that is our Excel scholarship. The next one is our Concordia Scholar. This is also an academic scholarship. This is given to the top 3 students that apply, and it's kind of a process. So for this one, we do need 2 teacher evaluations, but we can use the same ones that you already submitted for the Excel scholarship. We don't need another 2 submitted. And then we need your student to go in, and right here is the link. It's on our scholarship page also. The student needs to go in and complete the application. So I think there are about 10 questions they need to answer. I would highly recommend printing it out ahead of time and having them handwrite their answers and then go back and type it in, because it doesn't save your work. So if they start it and they do 2 questions and they go to eat dinner and they come back and there's been a power outage or something crazy, their work's lost. And so that's what I had my own kids do. So for the Concordia Scholar, 2 teacher evaluations, we're going to look at the test scores probably, definitely the first quarter report card, and then the teacher evaluations. And the first round, they pick the top 20 typically to go on to the next round, where they give them 3 essay questions to complete. And then from those, they pick the top 6 or 7 students to move on to be interviewed. And then from that, they pick the top 3 students as our Concordia Scholars. And that's $2,500 a year. And they get that renewed automatically every year, as long as they keep their GPA up above a 3.5. For the Excel and the Concordia Scholar, those are only scholarships you can't stack. So you can't have both of those scholarships. It's either one or the other. The rest of the scholarships you can stack on top of it. The Congregation Scholarship, this is, well, we have an association of churches, and on the page, I didn't put it up here, but on the page that's right across from this one in your missions guide, it lists all of our association churches. So for example, if you're a member of Holy Cross, you're in one of our association churches. If you're considered in good standing, the church will pay the Congregation Scholarship to Concordia. And that is $1,450 toward your tuition. So we always encourage families to talk to your pastor or elder to see what it takes to be in good standing at your church. They might have a meeting that you need to go to, or attendance requirements. Maybe you need to be there 50% of the time in order to get that scholarship, but you just want to make sure that you know what it takes to be considered in good standing, so the church pays the Congregation Scholarship. And then what we do for you to get the Congregation Scholarship, or for us to find out if you're a member, you just need on the application for admission, you just check off which church you belong to. And then we send that church a list of students that have listed them. and they tell us if your family's in good standing, they're going to pay the scholarship or not. Then the next one is the tuition scholarship. This is a need-based scholarship. It's coming from Concordia, and to apply for that, there is not a magic cutoff number on adjusted gross income or anything. If you feel like your family needs some extra assistance to be able to attend Concordia, then we encourage you to complete the application. This is our only application that costs anything to apply as far as financial aid. We use a company called TADS, T-A-D-S. And so when you go onto the scholarship page through this link, you'll see TADS listed. You click on that, you set up a username and password, and it does cost $39 to apply for the need-based scholarship. And what they do is that company evaluates your financial information, and they send us back a recommendation on how much we help the family with. So Debbie Shum is our financial aid director, and she's the one that will put together your financial aid package, and will go through all this scholarship information and award the scholarship. So if you have specific questions about that, her contact information's at the back of the admissions guide. I think Ashley could probably post that on our chat too, in case you want to contact her with any questions. Then the Indiana School Choice Scholarship, some might know it as the Indiana Choice Voucher Program. We do accept that from the state of Indiana. And if it's something that you're already receiving, they have 3 different vouchers or scholarships that the state awards. There is a 50%, a 70%, and a 90% voucher. So sometimes when you're receiving that at the grade school level, you don't know which one you're getting, because the 50% voucher could cover your total cost, because the cost to educate a student at the grade school level is so much lower than the high school level. So you might want to talk to Debbie or go to the DOE's website to see where you would fall with that. So the state of Indiana looks at 2 things. They look at your household size and your adjusted gross income. So you should be able to tell on their website, or you could call Debbie, or I can even help with that part to let you know which Indiana School Choice voucher you might receive. To give you an idea, it also depends on your school district. So for Fort Wayne Community Schools, it was around $5,800 for a 90% voucher. I think it's gotten a little bit better than that. 70% was like $4,600, and 50% was about $3,200. So that was Fort Wayne Community Schools, just to give you an idea. To apply for the Indiana School Choice Voucher Program, all you need to do with us off the bat is to mark it on your application for admission that you have received the voucher or Indiana School Choice Scholarship, or that you're interested in it. And then in March, you'll get an email from Debbie Shum that says, please call to schedule an appointment with me. And that's when you'll bring your tax information in, and she will help you fill out that. She'll fill that out for you on the website. Then the Lutheran Community Grant would be for families that one of the parents works for Lutheran Social Services or Lutheran Life Villages, or a parent is attending the Concordia Seminary, and that's usually around $1,000 a year. And then the alumni scholarship would be if one of the parents graduated from Concordia Lutheran High School. Our alumni group, they award, I think it's around $150 for just the freshman year for the alumni scholarship. The Family Loyalty Award would be if your student already has a sibling at Concordia or one that graduated from Concordia, and that's $500 off. The Band Booster Scholarship is between $300 and $500. It's a one-time scholarship for freshman year, and there is a scholarship application that you fill out using that link, or you can go to our page again on our website, and then there's usually they need to come in and play a piece of music for that. So that is our scholarship page. The next page are the instructions for admissions. So it's the application process. So starting, let's see, that was October, I don't want to tell you the wrong date, October 19th, when priority enrollment opens. You can go in on any page of our website. The top left-hand corner says apply now. So you just click on apply now, and then it'll take you to another page. So you click on apply now, and it'll take you in, and it will have you set up an account. So you'll say that you're a first-time user and set up your username and password. This is getting you set up in our on-campus system. So you want to make sure that you write down or save your username and password, because once they're a student at Concordia, that's how you will go in as a parent and be able to access their grades and a lot of important information. So you'll go in and you'll fill out the application for admission. The very last page of the application will let you pay that one-time $35 application fee. And then once that's submitted, I get a notification that says you've completed your application. I'll go in within 24 hours and process it. And then you'll get an email that'll say, we need you to upload the report card from first quarter, 6th grade, iLearn scores, and birth certificate. And if you have problems like locating the iLearn scores, you can just go to your grade school and ask them to email it to me, or they can give you a copy and then you can upload it. If your student has an IEP, which is an individual education plan, we do need a copy of that and their most recent psychological education evaluation. Those are done every 3 years. So we need that also. So once the application's completed, then within a couple weeks, you'll hear back that congratulations, your student's been accepted. The next step in the process would be to come in and schedule classes at the end of February. And then also give you some information on the financial aid link and how to go in and finish all that up. But you can start filling out the applications for your scholarships and everything as soon as the application's submitted. So if you want to get on top of that, we certainly encourage you to do so. And then we come to the last page of the admissions guide. This kind of talks about making the transition. So your freshmen's coming in. We have a mentor group called EPIC. And what we do is right here at the bottom, there's a link, but we'll send it out again as we get closer to May. And if your student would like a sophomore as a mentor, and it's totally optional, we encourage them to go in and fill out this questionnaire that's going to ask them questions like, what do you like to listen to as far as music? What do you want to get involved in high school? What do you like to do in your free time? And then we match them with a sophomore with similar interests. And it's a totally free program. We try to do at least 3 events over the summer before they start their freshman year. And they'll get to meet all of the mentors and all of the other freshmen in the program. The last couple of years, we've had over 50 freshmen that have wanted to be a part of our EPIC program. And then, you know, as they go into their get to start their sophomore year, they love to come back and be leaders and mentors to the next group of incoming freshmen. So we have a lot of fun with them. And then a couple weeks into their freshman year, we do a freshman retreat. It's a free 1-day retreat where we take them over to Camp Quaker Haven for the day, and they just play games, and we have them mix with different groups. So they're getting to meet all kinds of different students, not just the ones they went to grade school with. And then at the end of the day, they write a letter to themselves that they get to open at graduation. And in the letter, they're writing about what they hope to accomplish in high school, what they want to get involved in, who their current friends are, because that's always interesting to see how that changes and grows. And so that's a lot of fun. And we also give them devotion books. We have our seniors that are in AP English write devotions for our incoming freshmen. And so we give those to them at the freshman retreat. So it's just a great day and a great way to get their school year started. And then we also try to help our parents make the transition. So right after school starts, a few weeks into it, maybe closer to a month into it, we have a new parent social, a new parent wine and cheese event where they get to show up and talk and socialize and get to know each other, and ask questions if they have some other questions that have that came up after their students started school. So we try to have a lot of fun and get everyone involved. And then our very back page of our admission guide shows our social media. So if you want to get on to any of our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, you can certainly use this information here to get on and kind of see what's going on in our world. So we have that information up. I also wanted to talk about changes we've made since the pandemic started. So one thing that was great for Concordia with all this is that our students are used to one-to-one technology. They were already set up with iPads and MacBooks or whatever device they had. So when we found out the one weekend in March that every school was going remote, our students were already used to e-learning. So if we had a snow day or a day we had to cancel school, they didn't get a free day off. We did e-learning. So they were already used to that. But the only difference is for remote learning, we had set hours. So from 9 to 1:30, they were logging into Zoom and actually attending their classes. And so one thing I think I might have forgotten to talk about was that we're on a block schedule. So they get 8 classes a semester. And the way it works is typically on Mondays and Wednesdays, they have their odd number classes. So first, third, fifth, and seventh period. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they have their even classes. And then Fridays, the way we're doing it now, we're switching back and forth between even and odd every other week. So that worked out great for remote learning because they could still do that block schedule. So Monday they would have their odd numbers, and the classes were 40 minutes a piece. They would log in. In some classes they might be on for the full 40 minutes if there was content that needed to be gone over. Some of the classes they might have just been on for a little bit, but at least they had to log in, and it really helped our students to have that structure. So that's how we did remote learning. And now that we've gone back to school, we are fully on campus. Since the first day of school we've been, and some of the modifications we've made are everyone wears face masks. And in the classes where we have tables with 2 students at them, we have the plastic partitions up with the plexiglass. We have all the students facing forward. For lunch, students don't gather in the cafeteria or other areas of the building like we used to be able to do. They eat in the classroom that they are when the lunch period starts. And if they get a lunch from the cafeteria is bringing all of our lunches are prepackaged and they're made on site, but we bring them to each classroom. So they can certainly pack their lunch, or we will bring them one of our lunches. And we are doing the national free lunch program now, so everybody gets a free lunch. So hey, why not try it? So, and the lunches are pretty good at Concordia. So hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. We've talked about uniforms. School hours would be Mondays and Tuesdays. We have a late start at 8:40. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we start at 8. But if your student needs to come in early, they can come in and sit in the cafeteria. And that's an area that's set aside that they can wait and do homework or talk or whatever they want to do in there. And then after school, we get out every day at 3:10. And if students need to wait for their ride, they can go to the cafeteria. The schools, we have the school, so much activities going on. We're there until 9 or 10 o'clock. So at no point are we kicking your student out and saying school's out. In fact, we encourage them to go to free tutoring after school. Every day after school in our study center until 5 o'clock, we have free tutoring. So they could certainly go there, or if they would rather go to the cafeteria, they can do that too. I think now I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions. Ashley, did we have any questions that?
Yeah, we have a couple of questions for you. Just one thing to let everybody know, we did record this session, so we will try and send it out. Keep in mind, this is our first time, so we're figuring this out just like everybody else is with Zoom, but we will try and get this posted and sent out so that you have it for reference. But I've got two questions, and if anybody else has any questions, please feel free to put that in the chat right now, and we will answer as many questions as we can get to. So Dawn, could you explain TADS a little bit more and the tuition scholarship?
Okay, so the tuition scholarship, that's awarded by Concordia. So TADS is just the company that we use that's going to evaluate your financial aid and like your financial information. So when you go to our scholarship page, you'll see tuition scholarship, and then it'll say TADS. You'll click on TADS. It'll take you to their website where they'll have you set up your own username and password on their website. It does cost $39 to apply. And then they will ask you all kinds of questions about your financial situation. They're probably going to ask you for tax information. And then you complete that. It does take a few weeks for them to process it and evaluate it. And then Debbie Shum, our financial aid director, will receive the recommendation and use that when she's awarding your tuition scholarship. I hope that's clear enough.
Yeah, that's great. The other question that we had is, do parents have to apply every year for their students? So this might be a good chance to talk about that and our new enrollment contracts.
Okay. So you don't need to reapply every year. We will send out, this was just new last year. In the past, we would send out an email called an intent to return. I don't know if we'll still do that for next year if we send out the contracts earlier. But in the past, we've sent out an intent to return email that's just basically a survey that says, do you intend to return to Concordia next year? And if not, why not? And then if we don't hear back from you, or you say, no, we're not, then of course we're going to call you and say, why not? But then the contract, I'm trying to remember, you'll get a re-enrollment contract, and basically that's like your setting up your payment plan. I think we're aiming for May or June that will go out, and that's how you'll get that set up for the next year.
All right.
Do you have anything to add to that, Ashley? Because you were a big part of setting that up this year.
Right. It was our first year doing the enrollment contracts, and there's some other information in there that we generally collect at registration, just kind of looking at just making sure your contact information is up to date. Along with doing your payment plans, there's also the making sure that you filled out the photo release form and that you've read the handbook, just some of those housekeeping items. And we put that all in an online contract. We used to do that all in person. We're trying to move some of that online. It was kind of forced on us with COVID this last year, but it is something that's working really well that we'd like to continue. All right, Dawn, we got some more questions.
Okay, hit me up.
Okay. So with physical education, PE classes. We mentioned some activities that you can do. The question was, does being on an athletic team also do the same, give you credit for a PE class?
It does not. Only the JROTC marching band and the color guard that's a part of the marching band does. I think they might be looking into that, but I haven't heard that that's something they're going to be doing for next year.
And how early can students be dropped off in the morning?
Well, before COVID, it used to be about 6:30 because JROTC was down there anyway, doing drill team kind of stuff. I think 7 is what we're saying now. I'll need to double check on that because
Right.
we need to make sure the cafeteria is open and unlocked.
COVID has changed everything for us.
Yeah.
So if next year and COVID isn't a thing, then yeah, as long as the doors are open 7 o'clock, I think sometimes even earlier than that, clubs are out there and practicing, and JRTC is right out there at 7 o'clock most mornings. All right. This is a question about the standardized testing. I know this was some of the things that we were trying to figure out with COVID. Um, we still require the standardized testing. So we said 6th grade for that, right? That since 7th grade was canceled for most of our families that are in here.
Right. Right.
Okay.
I know. I don't know how much emphasis that'll be put on for scholarships since it was a 6th grade test and not a 7th grade test. I know that our guidance counselors just wanted to have it on file to be able to look at, when helping their students schedule their classes.
Okay. And I might be able to answer this question. We talked a little bit about the enrollment contracts. Like we said, this is completely brand new for us. In the past, we hadn't called them enrollment contracts. Essentially, what you were doing at registration was just selecting your payment plan.
Yeah.
So in on campus, so using this Blackbaud system, they have what they call enrollment contracts. We started using them this past year so that we could put everything online, make it a little bit easier for families, especially because we were not able to have people come in this summer. So that's essentially what an enrollment contract is. You just are doing it when you're selecting your payment plan. And by accepting that, it gets you into our system and lets us know that you are in fact returning for the next year. Okay, this is a question about the Lutheran community grants. Does this include elementary Lutheran school teachers?
It does not.
And the other question that we have is, can students participate in multiple sports?
Yes. Not in this, I wouldn't say in the same season. So like my youngest daughter, Sophie, she was real into soccer and volleyball. But once she got to Concordia, the high school girls soccer season's different. It's in the fall in high school. So she had to choose between volleyball and soccer, which was really a difficult choice, but it's really hard to do 2 sports in the same season, but you definitely can do multiple sports that are not in the same season. So she's probably going to try to do, she'll do volleyball, basketball, track, and she'll be busy, but a lot of students enjoy being busy and playing whatever sport they love.
All right, so we have another question. I heard that there's a boys volleyball team. There is not a boys volleyball team.
Well, it's intramurals. That's probably
Yeah.
what you're hearing about. So it's a lot of fun. Crystal Castleman, the head of our science department, organizes it. And, boys get teams together. There are co-ed teams. And teachers, they even get a team together, and they're actually pretty awesome because we have so many tall teachers that enjoy playing volleyball. But they play on Monday nights, and I think it's like 8 o'clock for an hour or so. And they have a season that maybe is a month and a half long, and then at the end they have a tournament, and you get to see who wins the tournament. But the only downer with that is that the girls volleyball team, they're not allowed to play because they're in season. So but if you're not a volleyball player on the girls volleyball team, anybody else is allowed to participate in that intramural program.
And we did have a comment going back to the multi-sport athletes. We have had students who have participated in multiple sports during the same season. Somebody mentioned doing soccer and kicking for the football team. Mason Kashid
Oh,
did that a couple of
okay.
years ago.
Yeah.
It's unusual, though. I have heard of students that have done cross
Sorry,
country
I
and
shouldn't say
soccer.
never.
Yeah, it's rare. It doesn't not happen, but it is rare. All right, another question we have is, what is the acceptance rate of new students?
It's pretty high. Um, I don't have a percentage. I would think it's in the upper 90s. Um, the only the only students I feel like we have to turn away are the ones that have needs that we can't accommodate, like in the study center, or that have some kind of behavioral problem that they've gone through the appeal process, and it's been decided that maybe they need to reapply, give another year at a different school, and prove that they can not get in trouble. But overall, it's pretty high acceptance rate.
That's great. Well, I think that's all that the questions that we had. So thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. This went great. So appreciate that you guys are kind of our guinea pigs for trying this out. But thanks so much. If you have any questions that you think of that come up after this, please feel free to email us. You can email Dawn. It's dSchuler@clhscadets.com. Or you can send in notes to info@clhscadets.com. You can also call the high school and ask any questions. And thanks everyone for being here tonight. Thanks, Dawn, for a great presentation.
Well, thank you, Ashley, and thank you everyone that was able to attend. Have a great night.